Hello and welcome back to the banks of the River Severn here in beautiful Ironbridge for the final reading from my second self-published book, Ashes to Ashes, Watching England Through the Night, 2021 to 2023. And I've read this chapter before, but we're here in Ironbridge, it's my spiritual home, and hey, what the hell, let's read it again. When I get the right page. That's a good start, isn't it? Test match cricket is boring. Aussies win in a thriller. After 4 days and fully 2 sessions of rain-interrupted Test match cricket, it came down to this. England needing just 2 runs for victory, New Zealand 1 final precious wicket. Seconds later, Neil Wagner is screaming like a wild banshee before being mobbed by his jubilant, disbelieving teammates, whilst James Anderson can only stand disconsolately, looking down at the ground and the bat that had tickled the faintest of possible edges through to the full-length sprawling dive of wicket-keeper Tom Blundell. New Zealand had won against all possible odds in a following-on, come-from-behind victory for the ages, and for the second time in the entire history of this great and grandest of all games, by one single solitary run, and stealing once more from the great Ian Smith from the ICC Cricket World Cup of 2019 by the barest of margins. The barest of margins indeed, my goodness. There are many people for whom Test match cricket is instantly dismissed as boring. 5 days often resulting in a draw, but not in this English revolution. With rain delays, declarations and fielding positions such as backward square leg or deep third man looked upon with contempt and derision. Teams are in, then out, out, then back in again, made to follow on amid googlies, zooters and leg breaks, and batsmen that are not out until they are out, but are then back in again before they get out. Perhaps you fancy a brand new cherry, or nut, or rock to bowl. Seam, swing, reverse swing, spin, leg spin, side spin, or indeed no spin at all. Or even better, that mystery ball on a green top, or a road, or a feather bed, or perhaps a Bunsen burner in a Delhi dust bowl, or the grey overhead conditions of Headingley in Yorkshire, watching the masters of their bowling art swing the ball around corners with unplayable jaffers that trap a batsman dead and plumb in front of a castle of poles, but the less said about the silly mid-off position, the better. I may be confusing you enough by now, but boring? Please. This morning in New Zealand, or if you prefer, a 9:30 p.m. start here in England that magically transformed into the most incredible piece of live sporting action for many a long day that became 3 a.m. and that final ball of the contest, a wide, somewhat leg-side, tired delivery from the fiery Neil Wagner that James Anderson tickled, feathered, dabbed, or plainly and simply edged a cricketing strangle into the gloves of jubilant wicket-keeper Tom Blundell. New Zealand had won a Test match, a boring game of cricket, by one solitary run. A cricketing session short of 5 days, the ex-World Test champions defeated the revolutionary wannabe champions by a single solitary run, and in a Test match that yet again had that beautifully simplistic template that has thrillingly beguiled me now for over 4 decades. The ebb and flow of a game of Test match cricket cannot be denied and must not be ignored. The team who lost today, those cricketing revolutionaries and mavericks from England under the command and guidance of Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes, were arguably ahead throughout the match and on 3 of the past 4 days of the contest. They were so far ahead in fact that Stokes enforced a follow-on, another of the sport's beautiful quirks whereby if the team fails in excess of 200 runs of the team's first innings, well, you politely ask them to bat again. From the beginning, in and out, and back in again. Following on, the eventual winners today, New Zealand, a team on a slow decline after their recent world champion status and the unluckiest of losers in the World Cup final of 2019, were over 200 runs behind before they commenced a second innings that would result in a healthy but achievable now lead of over 200 runs that would eventually, after a crazy run out, a near century from ex-England captain Joe Root, a valuable innings from current captain Ben Stokes hopping on one leg, and a cameo of brilliance from their wicket-keeper batsman Ben Foakes, who farmed the strike to within 7 runs of their combined first and second innings total. England, on top for the majority of the match, now needed just 7 further runs for victory. New Zealand, 1 wicket. 1,383 total runs would be scored in this test match. The teams are currently divided by just 7 of them, and England would fall, in that beautiful vernacular that colours this magnificent sport so well, 1 short. As I tried to turn the page, a single from Jack Leach. A hack in truth that fortuitously fell between chasing fielders was greeted with a huge roar of approval from England's travelling support of the Barmy Army around the Basin Reserve in Wellington, and a Wellington 11,000 miles away from a very different Wellington from where I pen these very words. I entitled this test match From Wellington with Love, but we don't have time for such cloying sentimentality now. There's a test match to be won. With 6 now needed to win, James Anderson crashed a quite unexpected boundary 4 that gave rise to the 40-year-old legend of the game to bump gloves with batting partner Leach. The grand old man of the grand old game was pumped all right, and Jack Leach, hero of Headingley 2019, was going to be a 1 not-out batting hero once more. Neil Wagner, his bowling dispatch to all parts both here in this match and the previous one just days ago in the beautifully picturesque looking Mount Maunganui, continued his cricketing barrage of bouncers as he tried to snag that final game-winning wicket. Anderson wanted a wide called on 1 delivery as it skirted the bounds of legality. A wide, a single run would have tied the scores. But back came Wagner once more, and then the banshee ran. Wild. There's the book. There's some West Indian drummers starting up in the background on the banks of the River Severn as Ironbridge prepares for its beautiful World Heritage Site day of celebration. And my goodness, I love this place. Look at that bridge behind me. The oldest iron bridge in the entire world. And there's going to be a day of celebration, and if my plans come to fruition, I will be back here this afternoon reading more chapters from a different self-published book. But until then, I leave you, as I always do, in peace and in solidarity. And I do sincerely thank you for watching. Peace, everyone.